Hi, I'm Rick Kaler. Thanks for joining me. Last week, for the first time since March, a client came into our office. And that was only after that we took her temperature and both of us were wearing masks. Behavior like this, which was unimaginable 4 months ago, is part of the new normal as businesses slowly begin to reopen. While temperature checks and mask wearing may only last until we have a vaccine or effective drugs to treat COVID-19, in many other ways, the pandemic is going to significantly impact our economy and our economic structures. Now, no one can know exactly how the pandemic is going to change America. But a June 11th, 2020 article by Taleb Verisam in Fast Company, which was called Six Experts on How Capitalism Will Emerge After COVID-19, offered a number of various opinions. Sara Miller, who's executive director of the American Economic Liberties Project, which advocates for antitrust regulation and corporate accountability, believes that whether we like it or not, the economy is going to get restructured. She sees the pandemic as highlighting concerns over the concentration of economic and political clout in big companies like Amazon, Facebook, and Google, which she erroneously calls monopolies. They are not monopolies. She predicts that voters will favor political action to pause mergers and evaluate trade agreements and the benefits for the largest corporations. Demon Drummer is executive director of New Consensus, an organization that supports a robust public sector that actively shapes the economy and markets. I think that means bigger government. He says, everything that I would call the Green New Deal package is very much on the table right now. He believes we might see more clean energy, infrastructure projects, more domestic manufacturing, and increasing demand for universal health care, as well as government investment in a jobs program. David Otter, Ford Professor of Economics at MIT, whose focus is labor economics, sees long-term job losses in service industries, which isn't good news for my area of the country. Remote work and meetings, reduced business travel, decreased use of office buildings and restaurants, and increased automation are going to all cost service jobs. He suggests that the time is right for a domestic Marshall Plan to restart the economy, with the federal government spending perhaps up to 10% of GDP on education, job training, expanded unemployment insurance programs, and infrastructure. There are rumors of another stimulus bill passing Congress as soon as late July. Rebecca Henderson, author of the Reimagining Capitalism in a World on Fire, and who's also an economics professor at Harvard Business School, sees government in partnership with business as a post-pandemic solution. She sees appropriate regulation, labor policies, and government investment in health and education as the approach to the various challenges like climate change and inequality. Economist Stephanie Kelton at Stony Brook University, a proponent of modern monetary theory, who's also author of a brand new book called The Deficit Myth, sees healthcare finally being disconnected from employment as a result of the 4 million lost jobs. She also sees a need to let the deficit get as big as it needs to heal and repair and allow us to rebuild. While this may sound like financial suicide to most of us, her well-reasoned views of why it's so necessary to increase the deficit are detailed in her book, and I would highly recommend that book to you. Former presidential candidate Tom Steyer ends the list of the six. He's co-chair of California's Economic Recovery Task Force. He envisions job training and more equal access to high-speed internet as part of a big building program. Now, each of these experts sees the pandemic as an opportunity as well as a crisis. The economic, medical, and social upheaval of COVID-19 is a painful, disastrous experience. But these six feel that it can also lead to something better as we rebuild our economy. But defining better, that's pretty important. It's too important of a task to be left only to economists or politicians. All of us who are coping with the current crisis have a stake in shaping what kind of society that we really want to create as part of our new normal. Thanks for joining me.